So, very good morning to all of you. As we know, it is nowadays to becoming the competitive partner or the being in the leader in the competition, it becomes very necessary to know your organization, right? So, SWOT analysis is a mechanism to know your organization. It is not only actually applicable to organization, this is applicable to the individuals also. So, we should also know our SWOT, so we come to know what competitive advantage do we have. And this is an analysis, so naturally the analysis will give you the result. And when you will apply this particular result, so you can overcome to the weaknesses, and not only this, you can strengthenize your strength also. You create the more opportunities and minimize the threats are there. In this particular session, we will talk about what is the SWOT analysis, aim of SWOT analysis, who needs the SWOT analysis, how to conduct the SWOT analysis, benefits and pitfalls of the SWOT analysis, brainstorming and prioritization in SWOT analysis, tips and exercises for the SWOT analysis, case study of the power transmission organization. Then I will also refer certain research papers on this and the book recommendations and references, which is always a part of my lecture. Now here, when we say this SWOT is there, so this is for the acronym strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats are there. So technique is credited to the Stanford University in the 1960s and 1970s are there. Now this particular tool is used to understand the strength. This is called the planning tool. You know, manager has the different functions: planning, organizing, coordinating, leading, controlling. So therefore, in that case, it is as the planning tool is used. This is also called as a controlling tool, SWOT. Because what is to be planned on the basis of your strengths and weaknesses, and how to control by identifying the opportunities and threats. So therefore, in that case, you are carrying this planning and controlling tool together, and as a result of which for any particular this is used for the project in business, but I extend this work. I have written some case studies, and in those case studies I have tried to make this SWOT of the individual personalities also. So this is used as a framework for the organizing and using the data and information from the situation analysis of the internal and external environment. So technique held that enables a group individual to move from the everybody problems, and therefore in that case there is a traditional strategies to a fresh perspective is there. So for an organization like, for example, IIT Roorkee. IIT Roorkee is celebrating its 175th year. So naturally, with the period of time, there has been a strategies to the fresh perspective is there. So here we find that that is this particular mechanism in the organization which makes the SWOT analysis. Minimum is the 3 years and maximum is the 5 years period of time. So every organization has to do the SWOT analysis so that they can understand what are the changes are going on. In the current era, when you are working in the industry 4.0, your machine learning, artificial intelligence, data sciences. So therefore, in that case, it becomes important that is, you know, your strengths and weaknesses are there. Now, once you know your strengths, so how to identify the strengths? What are the strengths is? Strengths are the characteristics of the business or a team that gives an advantage over others in the industry. For example, manufacturing industry is there. So in the manufacturing industry, production is the strength is there. When you are talking about the hotels or when you're talking about the hospitals, so what is the strength? Strength is the service industry is there. So we have to first identify that what is our strength is there, and this USP which is becoming our strength, it is making the positive involvement into the different attributes are there. For example, your emotions, then your machineries are there, then your procedure, or you know that is the the method, the resources. How do you manage your resources to strengthenize your strength? Resources are the main, machine, material, money, method, and minutes. So therefore, in that case, you find that is there are these are the six types of these are there. So now all these six M's are six resources which you are using, all these six M's, right? So six M's of management. So SWOT is to be done on these six M's. That is the resources are there. Main, machine, material, money, method, and minutes are there. So please always try to see that is the what are the positive attributes are there in the case of related to the organization. For example, for some organization, manpower is the strength. You know, for the academic institutes, you will find manpower is the strength is there. For these manufacturing organization nowadays, technology is the strength. So beneficial aspects of the organization, of the capabilities of the organization, that is the human competencies, process. Now you see, I would like to give the examples of like the automobile industries. Now, in that case, you will find that is the human competencies are there, and those technological process capabilities they develop. I was lucky enough to visit in 2019 to the Maruti, and in 2020 to the February, November 2019 to the Maruti Manesar, and in 2020 February, when the just before this your COVID and all, I have visited to the Korea, and then that time it has been seen these process capabilities. Hyundai plant in the Korea. So therefore, when I compare Maruti with the Hyundai process capabilities, more use of technology, and that was making the difference also. So your financial resources, products, services. Another important point is your goodwill. So for the strength of any organization, now you see that like you talk about these transmission organizations. In the transmission organizations, you find that is there are so many players are there. And I have taken the example of the Pitkul Uttarakhand Transmission Agency that we will be analyzing. But what is important is the goodwill is there, customer goodwill is there. So here example has been given: abundant financial resources, well-known brand name, economies of scale, lower cost, superior management talent, better marketing skills, good distribution skills, committed employees. So these are the becoming the your strengths are there. Now what the strength brings? Strength brings the opportunities. So therefore, if you are having the strong manpower, what will happen? Strong means intellectual capital, human capital. Then in that case, what will happen? You will create more innovations. So there will be the opportunity for the innovations. When we talk about the Sony, we talk about the Apple, we talk about the Google. So then in that case, these are the organizations which are making these opportunities through their employees because they are more innovative. Apple you take. So therefore, when an organization can take benefit of its resources, then making them the more profitable. So, but organization should be careful and recognize the opportunities and grasp them whenever they arise. Many times, people are not availing the opportunity which is given to them. They do not get that opportunity. They lose that particular opportunity. So here, this slide suggests us that is we have to be very careful whenever we are recognizing the opportunity, and not only by knowing the opportunity, we have to work on that. The action is required, and those opportunities may arise from the market, competition, industry, government, technology, anywhere is there. Examples are given: rapid market growth, rival firms are complacent, changing customer needs, test new uses for product discovered, economic boom, government deregulation, sales decline, and so many. Now, when we are talking about the weaknesses are there. So every coin has the two sides. One is the positive, other is negative, head or tail. So characteristics that place the firm at a disadvantage related to the others is there. So what advantages is there? So that we identified to the strength. But weaknesses are the factors which do not meet the standards, and therefore it is important that is the we feel that they should meet whenever we are knowing the weaknesses. Knowing the weaknesses is not a problem, but not working on the weaknesses is a problem. So whether the individual or the organization or the group or team, so everybody is having the strength and weaknesses, but those organizations who know they are having the limited financial resources, work spending on R&D, very narrow product line, limited distribution, higher cost. So therefore, in that case, and that will be these are the certain example marketing skills, limited management skills by the manager, right? Or the higher cost is there, under-trained employees are there, then that will be the weaknesses will be there. Whenever there will be the weaknesses, there will be the threat will be there. These external environment elements that could cause trouble for the business, external factors, which could place the organization's missions. So be careful. When we know the strengths, we are going for opportunities. When we know the weaknesses, we should be aware about our threats are there. And whenever these threats are there, we have to identify that is the how to overcome those threats. A very beautiful picture diagrammatic representation is given so that you find. So then there is a pit where you can get dropped. So then in that case, what is important is there to avoid this. So once you know, you will make the sideway. So entry here at the time of the LPG liberalization, privatization, globalization, when our Prime Minister is saying it is the local is the market, that is the global market working from locally. So here there are many threats are also there: entry of foreign competitors, introduction of new substitute products, product life cycle decline. But if you are aware, then you find the ways. You can take the government support, and then you can get overcome this particular type of the problems and find out that is how you can do your business globally. So new strategies are there, government regulations, electronic downgrade is there. Basically, what is the aim of the SWOT is there? To have decision makers share and compare ideas. So strategies are decided at the top. For example, for your institute or for your organization, you have to take these the decisions are to be taken, right? So on basis of this, what do you think that for an academic institute, most of you are from the academic institutes or somebody is from the industry, what do you think for the academic institute, what is the academic environment in India? What is the SWOT is there? Any one of you? If you understood the SWOT, can you tell at least two strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats for the academic scenario in India? Any one of you? So I will be able to understand that you understood what SWOT I have mentioned. So you understood that is what is the SWOT is there.
Sir, I think I'm Nidhi, Dr. Nidhi from Manavachna.
Namaskar, madam. Namaskar.
Sir, for threat, if we talk of threat in education industry, the threat can be the foreign campuses that are coming to India and how to compete with them in infrastructure development. They're highly
Very good.
technology embedded, and we are still lacking in that.
Right.
So that is the biggest threat we can foresee. And apart from that, the concept of MOOCs. So whether we can compete, the offline education can be at the same pace like online is growing. So it can be an opportunity also.
Yes.
But right now it's a threat. So it depends on the government plus other stakeholders how we can convert that threat into an opportunity.
Right. I am just coming from the NPTEL recording of my 5th course, madam.
Yes, sir. Then I'm not talking of SWEM, but I'm talking of other platforms like Coursera and all, which are threat to an Indian education system.
System. Yes, yes. That is there.
Yes,
So it is as you very rightly mentioned, madam, it is a strength also, and this is opportunity also, and then it becomes the threat also. Wonderful, wonderful. So so that it means that I can continue myself, right? Now, so therefore, it is the as in decision making. And the question arises, once we know, then we will also understand how to overcome this particular threat is concerned, or the strength is concerned is there. Our, like I was talking about, that is this institute is 175 years old. So that is had a led to the success also and the failures also. Now, in the case of that, from the past learning, like for example, adaptation of the technology, adaptation of the new courses, adaptation of the expansion to the global level. So adaptation to the society outreach. So complex ideas to be presented to relative and for decision makers. Once they know this what, it becomes very easy for them, right? Now, in the organization, when supervisor has issues with this work output, no, it is the outcome is not coming. Whatever the efforts are making, but the output is not coming. And then in that case, when we can do this SWOT and can identify where is the gap is there. Similarly, when the customer service is not into, at present we are conducting the training program for the Flipkart on the IR issues. So there is a new business units to pursue a new business. So new team leaders are there, those who are working on this, and they are making the changes. Now here we have to be also very careful to understand that is the SWOT will also tell you that is the what is good and what is bad for you. So in decision making process, when you are using the SWOT, you have to be very careful also. So whether some of the strengths I would like to mention, they may look like a threat, but for the larger benefit of the society, it is a strength is there, right? So as Nidhi madam has very rightly mentioned, there is online education is there. So online education is naturally will be a threat to the off-campus education, but that is creating the more benefit, and therefore the off-campuses themselves are now offering the number of online courses to becoming the global is there. What it means? It means that we can convert our weakness into the strength also. We can convert our weakness to identify the opportunity to improve and convert it into the strength. So you can create opportunities and strength from your the weaknesses and the threats are concerned. Third one is this concern of the every organization is revenue, cost, and expenses. That has to be achieved. So market share is declining. This is the threat is coming. Then naturally industry will be have to relook into their business practices. So SWOT analysis is also required for during the uh, Ashish को बंद कर दो. Also required for the product launch is there. Now you see, many times you introduce the new courses, and therefore in that case you have to understand that is the what is the competitors are there, and what are the your resources are there, your strengths are there. And accordingly you have to then involve your stakeholders in decision making. So the SWOT analysis is supporting a collective decision making, because once you analyze this SWOT, so you get this competitor the evaluation, and this is giving you the of course the personal development, and this decision making that is making you the more effectiveness, creating the more effectiveness in the market is there. So it is very important, that is the whenever you are going for the SWOT analysis, first you should know why we are doing the SWOT analysis. If we know that is we are doing the SWOT analysis for the decision making process, a particular issue is there, and then in that case you have to think of how to involve the stakeholders, then competitors situations, then designing the development, then take a decision, and then introduce your actions. Product launch may be the like in actions which will be creating the effectiveness in the decision making processes there. Now, whenever we are going for the SWOT, we have to focus on two factors very importantly. One is the internal factors, right? And one is the external factors is there. So therefore, whenever you are focusing on the internal and the external factors, it becomes very, very important. What are the your strengths are there? Sometimes you may have the internal strength, right? But maybe the external weaknesses. Example is that is the finance. Money is the internal strength is there, but attracting the customer, therefore the product uniqueness you do not have, then the external factors that will be making you the differences into their utilizations. So here these analyzing the internal and external environment, this is becoming more and more important is there. Now first, you make these strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for your internal and external strengths. Then you are preparing the action plan is there. Now, we will see how organizations are doing this type of the SWOT analysis. This is the departmentalization. So, organization structure. Now, here I will also like to mention there are two types of organization structures. One is vertical, other is the horizontal. And which one is better? Did anybody say? Which organization structure you think that is the a right organization structure is there? A vertical structure or the horizontal structure? Vertical structure means there are the many layers are there, and then on basis of that you are creating that particular the bureaucratic system or these decision making system. When we say the horizontal structure, so these layers in the organization, they are very less, and if they are very less, then the decision making system will be totally different than the tall structure or the flat structure or the vertical structure and horizontal structure is there. So what do you think, which organization structure it will be a right one will be there? Anyone? Organization structures? Anyone can say which will be better?
The participants, please respond to the resource person, please.
Right. Yes. Of course, and that is the there. Now you see horizontal. Yes, Pooja. Would you like to mention why you feel horizontal structure is a right structure?
So because in the horizontal structures, we divide the overall organizations into different departments. Overall work is divided under the different persons, and they also assume the part of the organizations. They help in taking the decisions. I mean, overall, we can invite the suggestions from the lower level management also. I mean, it is a participative management structures, which is best in case of large organizations.
Very good, very good, very good. Do you suggest for the enterprising startups? Startup, what type of the structure will be there?
So in case of startup, we just follow the vertical structures because in the starting stage, we are in the starting stage, and overall, when the business is at the diversified level or expansion level, then we can convert from the vertical to the horizontal.
Can I suggest the circular structure for the startups and enterprises? Circular structures. There is a third one structure, organization structure, that is called the circular structure. The circular structure is a structure in which all stakeholders are involved. Right. So naturally, as you rightly mentioned, that is it depends on the size of the organization. Also, sir has already mentioned about these structures. And when you want to create the, like for example, JE Electrical. In JE Electrical, that now they are having the horizontal structure. so that the time consumption for the decision making process that becomes the less. So here we can understand that is the whenever we are talking about the departmentalization, these matrix type of structure or the circular structure, that will be the always better. So here if the departmentalization is there, then these organization structures, so when we evaluate that is what are the strengths and weaknesses, then the formal structure is this one structure is there, and this is the informal structure is there. The social and cultural relations in the organization or the industries are there. So what is the study suggest? So here the business process study suggests the decision making process, transmission system planning, project management, procurement, system operations, regulatory, and all these are there. Okay. Another important example which will be given for this, what is that is the training needs analysis are there, job analysis, observation management. So I will escape, but this one is there. One example I already given, managing performance indicators. Okay, this slide we can take from. Okay, so therefore in that case, sometimes the persons who are doing the SWOT, they are not clear on what parameters I should go for these analysis, right? So these are the certain examples. If you are doing the SWOT of the operational indicators, so supply availability index is there, average interruption duration index is there, average interruption frequency index is there, and overhead line maintenance cost index is there. And this is related to the transmission industries are concerned. So these will be the operational indicators for the transmission organizations for the whether it is a strength or whether it is a weakness is there. HR, as far as the HR is concerned, human resources are concerned, and if you have to make the SWOT of the human resources, you have to think of this knowledge level of our employees, whether what type of the knowledge level they are having, skilled, unskilled, semi-skilled, or the ability, that is what jobs they can do, the skills, what their type of the skills they are having, and the habits, that is called the cash model, that is what type of the habits do they have. Financial indicators are turnover, return on investment, and assets turnover is there. So when you have to make the certain SWOT analysis on certain parameters for the transmission industries, these are the suggested parameters, but these are not all. Many organizations may have the different parameters. Now, what are the different methods of the SWOT analysis is there? So one is the pestle analysis, McKinsey 7S framework, Porter's 5 force analysis, Peter Drucker's 7 areas of opportunities. Now we will take one by one. Now here you see, whenever we are making the pestle analysis, so therefore it is the social, political, economical, legal, technological, and environmental is there, right? So whenever we do this type of this analysis, we identify a particular situation, and then we are making this particular scenario or analysis for the organization is concerned. Now we will go by the another method. Actually, we can take the one by one the examples also, and there we can do this particular type of analysis, which I have taken for the transmission industries later on. So you will find these all methods have been applied. The McKinsey 7S framework talks about that is the skills, staff, and style is there. These are called the soft skills. So therefore, in that case, out of these 7S of the McKinsey is suggested for doing the SWOT is there is the shared values and then the skills, staff, and style as a soft skill, and the strategy, structure, and systems that is called as a hard skill is there. So here you will find that is the Porter's 5 force analysis talks about the industry rivalry, degree of competition among the existing firms. Intense competition leads to reduce the profit potential for the companies in the same industry, because there is a industry rivalry or degree of competition among the existing firms is very intense. So therefore, it leads to the what will happen? It will reduce the profit potential for companies because their neck-to-neck competition is there, right? Threat of substitutes are there. Products or services, availability of substitute products will limit your ability to raise the prices. So bargaining power of buyers, powerful buyers have a significant impact on prices. Bargaining power of suppliers, suppliers can demand premium prices and limit your profit. And the barriers to entry act as a detergent against the new competitors. Porter's five force analysis is applicable a particular type of nature of industries, right? This is applicable to the power sector also. So therefore, in that case, this is very important. That is the how you are making these particular barriers to entry is there. Now, another method of the SWOT analysis is the Peter Drucker's 7 areas of opportunities are there. So they are the unexpected, incongruous, process need, in industry, demographic, change in perception, and the new knowledge is there. So when we are talking about the unexpected, so unexpected here opportunities are there for the success. There can be the unexpected opportunities for the success are there. There can be the unexpected opportunities for the unexpected. There might be the failures also. There can be the unexpected external change also, right? For example, the COVID. So here we can club with the pestle also, and it is about the environmental changes or the political changes, unexpected technological changes. I would like to give the example of this pager. So pager technology was introduced, right? But unexpected external change was there, and the mobile was into the market after the 6 months of the life cycle of the pager only. So as a result, pager became obsolete. Pager was away from the market. So here it is the unexpected external change into the political scenario, technological scenario, environmental scenario. When we are talking about the COVID and all, so this is becoming the environmental scenario. So if we have to identify the opportunities, so first we have to also focus on what are the unexpected success and failures are there. Another one is the incongruities is there. So incongruous economies are there. Incongruity between reality and assumption is there. So we have to be very realistic, right? We cannot just make a dream into an air. So therefore, incongruity between the reality and assumptions that we have to understand. Then incongruity in rhythm or the process, that is a pain point is there. This will you need to understand it is how things are working. Process need is there, keystone, task focus, not situation focus is there. And solve a keystone problem, that is the program research is there. So therefore, we have to understand that is what is a keystone problem. Many times it becomes the tips of the iceberg. I would like to give the example. That is the like the absenteeism. So you know, tips of the iceberg is like this. That is the you see something here, and but there is a much more below this. So therefore, in that case, when you are making the analysis, sometimes you see this one only. This is called the tips of the iceberg, right? But the real problems are the cause are here. For example, absenteeism. So absenteeism is the problem for the productivity here. But what is the cause of absenteeism? That comes here. That is here, right? So therefore, in that case, you will find decisions. How to take the decisions? Decisions cannot be taken on the seeing the what is the just focus on these symptoms. These are the symptoms of the problem. Absenteeism is a symptom, low productivity is a symptom, right? But when we talk about this particular cause of the problem, I would like to give the example. I was labor officer for 6 years. So therefore, in that case, when we talk about the absenteeism was because of the rotation of shifts. But we were working on the absenteeism. We taking the actions against the worker. Worker will not be the was not ready to come. His absenteeism was the same. But when we focus on that, that is what is the cause. The cause is the most of them were having the double employment, or they are having the fixed shift. So what we do, we make the scheduling like this, scheduling of the shift, so that the worker is required to be present on the workplace at least for the 16 to 18 days in a month. Normally, the absenteeism rate is the 14%. So when you want to increase it, so you cannot make the 14 to 100% as such, 30 days, right? So therefore, in that case, you have to focus on the what is the really the cause of the system is there. So keystone problem. So here you have to be very task focused and not the situation focused. And once you identify that is a keystone problem, then definitely in that case you will be able to solve the problem is there. So many times, please go into the depth, go into the detailing of the any particular, when you making the analysis, you find certain problems, but just don't work on directly on the problem. Please see the roots of the problems. What is the cause of the problem? And then you take the action. Then only your SWOT will be successful. Then industry or market structure is there, demographics are there. Now you see the age factor. Japan innovation in robotics. Japan has recently created the robots which will be talking to the senior citizens. As all of us know, there is a number of these senior citizens are increasing in the Japan as compared to the young generation, and it is going to be the old country. So as a result of which the age factor is demographics is the structure. India's strength is the young people. So therefore, in that case, it is becoming a very important for the India to have the opportunities, more opportunities, because at the global level, India is emerging as a young country. Similarly, Japan has been seen as the aged country, or the age factors people, senior citizens are there. Now, there are no young person, so these robots are made to talk to the senior citizens are there, right? So is this a solution? That is the loneliness by the senior citizens, and you are creating the robots, and then so that cannot be the situation is there. So you have to create the demographics in such a balanced way, so that you are having the young employees also and the old employees also, so senior citizens also. So therefore, this is becoming the one example. Another is the change in perception is there. Now we have to also see that is the what is our the perceptions for example, health market is there. So the perception has to be changed. There is to be healthy or to be for the treatment is there. Lifestyle goods are there, and these demographics and perception, they are interrelated. So as your demographic changes, your perception will be keep on changing is there. As far as this new knowledge is concerned, so when innovative organizations are there, they will be more focusing on the new knowledge is there. So when we are talking about the another method, and it is about the benchmarking practices. Now what we do, determine the scope of exercise, identify the key parameters, indicators, and collect the data, select the best in class peer group, select best in class performance, identify parity group, measure own performance, develop action plan, track plan execution, and recalibrate is there. Now here we start about the SWOT analysis. So analysis starts with the situation analysis, internal analysis, and external analysis is there. Internal analysis, as I mentioned, that is the external environmental factors and internal environmental factors and external environmental factors. So internal analysis will be weakness and strengths. External will be give the opportunity and threats will be there. Now, here we see the strengths of the organizations: technological skills, leading brands, distribution channels, customer loyalty, production, skill, management. These are the certain examples are there. This list we can make the list on the basis of our nature of our organization. And therefore, this is not the standard list is there. For example, many organizations may not be using the technical skills, right? So therefore, if they want to make the analysis, the opportunity will be there to use the technology, but otherwise their strength parameters will be different. Weaknesses will be also, these are the certain examples are there which you see on the screen: low customer retention, unreliable products, subscale management is there, or the opportunities are there: changing customer technological advances, lower personal taxes, threats are there, change in population age, tax systems, new distribution channels, that will be always there. Now, here, when we are selecting the contributors, experts' opinion may be required for the SWOT is there. So please understand that is the you are creating that external your opinions which are related to that particular business is there. I would like to give one example. I was into Shriram Group into the soya industry, and in the soya industry, soya seeds are crushed, and the soya seeds are crushed with the help of the hexane loss. Now, the plant was using the hexane. Hexane is very costly affair, and plant was using the more hexane what is supposed to be used for the a particular capacity. Our plant was of the 250 tons per shift it was using, and there hexane loss was so much which was causing the losses to the organization. Now, what is was supposed to be done? So here we have to make these first SWOT analysis, whether our technology is okay or not, or our manpower is okay or not. And what was the opportunity? Opportunity was to develop this particular technology, improve the production process. And the threat was, if we do not work on that, the byproduct, cattle feed, right? That is the soya crush. That was the may not be used and the company may be into losses. So here expert opinions will be taken. Create a workshop environment, ask them that is the why this is happening and how we can overcome about these particular strategies are there, and therefore it can be carried out in this understanding of the what are these strengths and weaknesses are there where we can go for this particular solution. Then we are making the list and carry out the findings forward are there where which will be referred to the management, and management will ensure that it is used in the subsequent planning. So here it becomes very important that is the you follow the particular process of the understanding. Now, actions, things that must be addressed immediately, that can be handled now. Now you have to classify. Now certain problems which you will be required to be addressed immediately, otherwise you will be into the problem. Or they are the things that can be handled now, right? Or they should be researched further, and then they should be planned for the future is there. So you have to classify A, B, C, D, whatever is your classification is there, and according to the classification, you have to take a decision is there. So benefits of the SWOT analysis is knowing the competition. Review a company's competitors and benchmark against them. Choose strategies that will put the company in a competitive advantages there. I have started this SWOT analysis that being the competitive, more competitive is there. So our decision making on the basis of this SWOT should make us that is the more competitive is there. So what will be the forecasting? The forecasting will be that is the understanding the company's advantages and disadvantages, and then accordingly the work will be done. Which we have now. Are there the weaknesses of the SWOT analysis? Yes, this process is certain having the weaknesses also. So here are the some of them. Can be very subjective. Two people rarely come up with the same final version of a SWOT. Use it as a guide and not as a prescription is there. You cannot make the compulsory to the organizations. They do the SWOT and this SWOT is the right method and that will give the right result. So here the subjectivity is too much. So categorizing the aspects as strength, weakness, opportunities and threats might be very subjective, as there is a great degree of uncertainty in the market is there. So to be effective, SWOT needs to be conducted regularly. The pace of the change makes it difficult to anticipate the developments. The data used in the analysis may be based on the assumptions. Now you have to be very careful, as you are the researchers also. So you know SWOT analysis is an analytical method. For this analysis, certain data will be required, and that data has to be very authenticate data has to be there. If you do not get the authenticate data, please don't go for the SWOT analysis, whether it is a case study or it is the other aspects are there. The data used, research problems, quantitative analysis, whatever it might be, but you have to see this conduct these analysis will be based on the assumptions that subsequently proved to be unfounded, good and bad is there. It lacks detailed structure, key elements may be missed are there. If it is not done there, then there will be the problem in that case. Now, here, now this is the method. What you do, you go for the brainstorming first, and then the prioritization. Once you go for the brainstorming and prioritization, then you will go for these the tips there. What are the do's and do nots in the SWOT? Be analytical and specific. Record the all thoughts and ideas. Be selective in the final evaluation. Choose the right people for the exercise. Choose a suitable SWOT leader or the facilitator. Know what the companies are doing. Companies are making a committee or the group of persons, those who are responsible for the SWOT analysis is there. Because the leader of that SWOT analysis, he knows that is how to handle the organization and what is possible and what is not possible and what can be the threat for the organization is there. This particular team will come out with the think out of the box and be open to changes there. What are the do nots? Try to disguise the weaknesses, merely list errors and mistakes, lose the sight of the external influence and trends, allow the SWOT to become a blame-laying exercise, ignore the documents at a later stage of the planning process is there. Sometimes organizations' internal politics is so high that they do not allow you. So don't get the disheartened when you make certain efforts and there is no result in the organization, because sometimes people do not allow you to do the things the way you want to do. So, but later on, there will be the time period where you will be able to do as per your choice. Ignore the outcomes at the later stage of the planning process is there. Now here, in these tips, we willing to break down layer from the traditional method, record the results, prepare a written tips is there. So keep your short, finally, the short and simple, prioritize the results, get the multiple perspectives, apply your SWOT analysis to a specific issue is there. Now, I would like to come to this particular Power Grid Corporation of India Limited. Actually this was the part of my project which I have suggested to this grid company, and to understand that is the how the transmission organizations that can be the do the SWOT analysis, and on basis of that SWOT, how they can improve their organizational effectiveness. Normally, these are used as a organizational effectiveness and these organizational effectiveness, managerial effectiveness, where we are going by this comparing these companies as a transmission energy is there. Now, in this particular transmission energies, first we will go by the NHPC. There is a National Hydropower Corporation. The SWOT analysis is there. So establish the track record in developing the hydroelectric projects and the experienced manpower. So NHPC possesses the rich experience, rich experiences and expertise in development of hydroelectric projects across the country. NHPC, National Hydropower Corporation, has a competent and committed workforce having vast experience in the industry with the capabilities and expertise from concept to operation. The skills, knowledge of industry and vast experience of its employees provide NHPC a significant competitive advantage. There are the strong operating performance. So manage, develop and implement projects with the aggregate installed capacity of the 7,071 megawatt. These projects include the 22 hydroelectric power stations, two through its subsidiary company, that is NHDC Limited, and NHPC with the fleet of power station is a flagship company in the hydropower sector in India is there. Now this the strengths. Now the capabilities from the concept to commissioning, the including in-house design and engineering and geotechnical studies. So therefore, you will find it is in the hydropower sector that it has been started with the design and engineering requirements of various projects, power stations, which is the design totally in-house. So therefore, in that case, you will find that this is becoming a very, very important aspect of their NHPC's strength is there. Now, in technical capabilities in diversified fields, namely survey, drilling, hydrology, geology, geophysics, construction material survey, civil electrical and HM design, environment construction management, OM, renovation and modernization, this power station gives an edge over the other hydropower companies in India is there. So NHPC has established a state-of-the-art laboratories like the geotechnical labs are there, and the remote sensing, lab quality control, and they have labs real-time seismic data center as a part of technical upgradations are there, and this has been developed by the NHPC by themselves is there. NHPC is having the highly extensive experience in construction and operations. So extensive experience and expertise in the development of hydroelectric projects in complex geographical regions using in-house state-of-art technology to overcome number of geotechnical challenges are there. It has proven the experience in effectively operating power stations, particularly in slit-prone Himalayan region. At present, NHPC is successfully operating 20 hydropower stations of different installed capacities ranging from the 44 megawatt to the 690 megawatt is concerned. Strong financial positions are the NHPC is having a paid up share capital of rupees 10,45,003 crore with the investment base of over the 64,613 crore, and the highest credit rating for its listed bonds reflects its strong financial position is there. So NHPC is in a very strong, is competent enough to execute capital incentive, large hydroelectric projects are there. Then this is the time and cost, not the weaknesses of this NHPC. Time and cost overruns are there. Time and cost overrun is becoming the major concern for the hydroelectric projects are concerned. So most of the hydroelectric projects are located in hilly terrain and prone to the devastating natural calamities like landslides, hill slope collapses, roadblocks, flood clouds, and etc. is there. These calamities cause severe setback to construction schedule. Further, in spite of the extensive survey and investigation, geological uncertainties have to be tackled, especially in the long tunnels such as headrest tunnel is there. So NHPC with its rich experience and expertise coupled with the state-of-the-art technology has overcome such surprises many times in the past. However, these are common and unpredictable geological uncertainties which may result in time and cost overrun is there. Dependence on the few contractors. Construction of the hydroelectric projects require manpower, machinery, and substantial investment of money is there. So there are very few resourceful contractors in India who have experience in this field and are willing to work in remote and difficult locations when accessibility is a major issue. The limited range of contractors who are able to perform in these sectors, that is the becoming a very, very few contractors are there. So one side, it is a time and cost overrun, and other side, that is this type of the projects are highly dependent on the contractors are there. Now question arises, what is your suggestion? Should we go by these appointment of the regular employees, or we should go by the contractors? How to overcome these particular two weaknesses? Many organizations are working on these particular contractors situations where they are having the contractor workers. Some organizations, they are having a very critical approach, that is they treat the contract workers as their regular workers. Later on, after some years, those contractor workers, they demand to be regularized into the permanent work as a permanent workers, but the organization denies. When organization denies, then the contractor workers, they make the strike within the organization. So keeping in mind, tell me, that is the when your project is dependent on the contractors workers, how will you handle this pressure or this practice? Any one of you? Should we depend on the contractor workers or we should not depend on the contractor workers? We should make the contractor positions the regular, or there is any other way? Anyone voluntarily? Otherwise, I will ask someone to answer.
Yes, please, the participants.
Okay, can I ask the Professor Jayant Verma? Professor Jayant Verma, are you online? Okay, so can I ask Neha, Madam Neha Vadwan? Some of the names which are here. Dr. Sujata? Who will answer this question? You identify weakness, there are the contract workers dependency is more. What is the solution for that type of the businesses? Whether we should go with these contractor workers, we should make them regularize, or there any other way?
Dr. Narendra Sharma, Dr. Indira Bhatti, please respond. Dr. Veerappan, Dr. Pritima. Okay. Pooja, yes, Pooja, you are responding, I suppose.
Yes, sir, we should not depend on the few contractor because company should follow the policy of regularizing the contractor so that in the future, if there's a need for such type of contract, we don't depend upon the few contractors.
So you want to suggest that is that these employees, contract workers have to be made regularized?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So what will be the threat? I think there is a
can be delayed
Yes, sir.
projects.
Okay. Yes, Nidhi madam.
Sir, the threat can be delay in the project if they know there is no contract or there is no time limit. Maybe they can delay the projects, or if to overcome this weakness, we have a scheme of Manrega and all where the labor they enroll with the government system. From there, they can hire the people instead of depending on the local contractors.
Okay. So you want any other method do you think that can be adopted, not to regularize the workers, not to keep the contractor workers? So, okay, to cut the story short, what I will advise, that is the please see, that is these resources. No, you are talking about the resources. So manpower is the one resource, and manpower resource can be replaced by the only by the technology. I have given the example of these Hyundai and all. So therefore, in that case, you have to understand that is the how you will be going for this type of the exercises where the you are going for the permanent workers or the temporary workers or the exercise. So many organizations they are making the some jobs with the without manpower by the use of technology. Or some jobs they are have been the outsource. Outsource is different than the contractor workers. Contractor workers, they come to your premises and they work. Outsource is given, that is they work at their home or the other place. Then they so there many times what happens, these contractor workers, they when they come to your premises, they feel that they are becoming the part of your organization. Now they will start asking you to be the regulars there. So whatever possible way you can think and decide as per your nature of organization is concerned. That is whether you want to go by these contractor workers, you want to outsource these some of the works, do you want to make the use of technology for some of the works, and this way you can manage your this manpower, contractor manpower is there. Now the opportunities. The NHPC endowed with the significant hydroelectric potential. So hydrothermal mix, peaking, shortage and frequency variations have forced policymakers to turn their attention towards the development of hydropower. So India's huge untapped hydro potential, especially in the northeastern region, provides opportunity for the development of hydropower. So NHPC, with its presence in northeastern region and its capabilities, has an opportunity for the capacity addition by tapping hydro potential in the coming years is there. So another power sector which is coming out, that is about the hydro potential is there. So the strength shown by NHPC over the years about its ability to complete the projects, where most of the other companies, particularly in private sector, are generally failing, is in a sign of hope for the hydro sector. As a result, NHPC's support in the construction of the hydroelectric projects is creating new space for its growth is there. NHPC has opportunity to resume the stalled hydroelectric projects of the country by taking over debt-burdened hydropower companies through CIRP, thereby supporting economic growth of this country. NHPC has already taken over LTHPL, developing the Tista VI 6 HE projects in Sikkim through CIRF process, and is a successful resolution applicant of a Jal Power Corporation Limited. So therefore, which is a subject to approval of the Honorable National Company Law Tribunal is there. Opportunities are there, in this case, the renewable energy. Government of India has released its roadmap to achieve the 175 gigawatt capacity in renewable energy by 2022, which includes the 100 GW of the solar power, of gigawatt of wind power, and remaining from others is there. So business opportunities for the NHPC got a boost after the Government of India's measures to promote hydropower development by declaring the large hydroelectric projects are there. And as a renewable energy source and introducing hydro purchase organizations obligations are working. Ministry of the New and Renewable Energy has recently framed the Ultra Mega Renewable Energy Power Parks scheme for the development of the large-scale renewable energy projects with support of the central financial assistance is there. So NHPC is exploring the possible opportunities to develop solar parks, floating solar projects in various potential rich states such as Odisha, Telangana, Rajasthan, etc., to avail the benefit of this schemes are there. Now we will come to the another opportunity, that is the grid balancing requirement is there. So hydropower projects often located in the remote regions are crucial to stabilize the grid, as India planned to add 175 gigawatt of the renewable energy is there. Hydropower projects are ideal to meet the peak load compared to the thermal power plants. They can be simply turned on and off compared to thermal power plants. This helps the grid in withstanding the fluctuations causing by the intermittent supplies from solar and wind is there. NHPC generates clean, green and sustainable hydropower, which is useful in the mitigating the peak power demand. The ability of hydropower stations is showcased in the stability of the national grid during the Honorable Prime Minister's 9 p.m. 9 min initiative on the April 5, 2020 to display the country's collective resolve to defeat the COVID-19 pandemic is there. Now finally, the threats for the NHPC. So time-consuming clearance processes are there. A hydroelectric project requires various statutory as well as the non-statutory clearance. And from various agencies before implementation of a project, multiple organizations and states are generally involved in the clearance processes there. Therefore, obtaining the requisite clearances has been a complex, tedious, and time-consuming process, and sometimes led to abnormal delay. So many of the projects get bogged down because of the lengthy clearance procedure is there, which is a part of that system. So difficulties in entering into the power purchase agreements as tariff for new hydroelectric projects is relatively high during that initial investment. E-procurement rather than opting for the long-term medium for these all PPAs. So as such, a sale of energy from projects with the highest stuff is getting difficult in respect present day's power market scenario. NHPC is also facing similar difficulties in dispatch of power from some of the new projects through the long-term PPAs are there. Now we will take the another corporation, that is the Power Grid Corporation of India Limited, the SWOT analysis. Now the leading market position, strength, strong transmission infrastructure, higher operational efficiency, increasing focus on the consultancy business, international expansion, dependence on the government-funded consulting clients, dependence on funds by multilateral agencies like the World Bank and foreign governments. Opportunities are the expanding transmission business, investment plans, smart grid initiatives, and the threats are the risk associated with the operations in foreign countries, sharing of the interstate transmission charge and losses regulations, competition in consulting, competition in the telecommunication business, and the bandwidth is there. Now the Tata Power, the SWOT analysis, the strength, Tata brand value, footprints in renewable and non-renewable sources of energy, good customer base in Delhi and increasing in Mumbai, international presence, rights issues opened on 31st March as Tata Power's replay, debts and then the for capital utilization is there. The weaknesses are intense competition in customer acquisition, higher finance cost for the cost benefit the Mundra project. Tata Power has to exit Indonesian coal from the origin for the $500 million generally to the cut debt in wake of the Mundra losses. Weaker rupee in past year hit the company in local reports. This is also very important. That is what is the prices of these your rupee is there, and that will make these changes into this the your cost. I would like to mention one example also. Like my one friend has taken the loan into the dollar, and within the 5 years the dollar has become the price in Indian rupees and has become the double. So now the friend was in problem, so he approached to the different agencies and find out that is the nothing can be done. He has to repay the loan in the dollars only. So here when we talk about the weaker rupee in past years hit the company in local reports, many organizations they get close. Limited customer base in South India is there. Opportunities are there, banking on switchover customer, increasing demand for power, entry in non-conventional energy resources, and opportunities abroad as there. The threat is the international coal prices, fluctuation in rupees. Then the state electricity boards have challenged CERC under for compensation tariff to the Tata Power in March. Tata Power's highest staff tariff was challenged in the appellate tribunal for the electricity in March was there. Now, another company is the GETCO, Gujarat Energy Transmission Corporation Limited, the SWOT analysis. And here we find that is the strength is the latest technology was implemented for performance improvement, high system availability, low transmission losses, strong management vision and leadership, efficient HR management, technically qualified and competent personnel. Now here you see that is this has become a very popular the organization with the particular strengths are there. However, there were certain weaknesses also. So therefore, large number of the 66 kVs, inadequate EHVs and lines, lack of proper MIS, network congestions, aging transmission system, aging workforce, and training for personnel was there. The opportunity and threats for the GETCO is the PPP model. The joint ventures capital, joint ventures will be there, leveraging network, ancillary services, ability in-house testing facilities for outsiders, leasing transmission towers and lines for telecommunications, load management, and competitive building is there. So they have taken these opportunities on the basis of the certain strengths are there. Threats are regulatory risk and inconsistencies, private sector transmission licenses. standard assets, open access, transmission, pricing is there. Now here, the get goes the helpful in achieving the objectives and harmful in the achieving the objectives we will see. So external origin and the internal origin is there. So when we talk about the external origin, the attributes of the environment is there and the attributes of the organization is there. So when we talk about the external origin, then we combine with the organization is there. So here we find that is the latest technology implemented was there. Strength, high system availability, low transmission losses, strong management vision and leadership, ethnic HR management, technically qualified and competent personnel. While the weaknesses are large number of the 66 kVs, inadequate EHVs, lack of proper MIS, newer congestions, aging transmission system, aging networks, and training for personnel is there. Opportunities are there, PPP model, right? Leveraging ancillary services, availability of in-house testing, facilitating for students, lasting transmission towers and lines for the telecommunications, load management, and the competitive bidding is there. So threats for the get-go is there, regulatory risk and inconsistencies, private sector transmission licenses, tender assets, open access, and the transmission pricing is there. So after studying these three transmission organizations, this is SWOT analysis. Now we will find out tentative path of the action is there. So in the tentative path of the action, we see that is it becomes important. That is how you are going to be the making this particular need assessment process is there. Please understand that is normally in the SWOT analysis, as I mentioned earlier. SWOT analysis is taken to take the action, corrective actions, or decision-making process, so that whatever the weaknesses are there, we can overcome. Whatever the opportunities are created, we can get those opportunities. Whatever strength is there, we can multiply our strength, and whatever the weaknesses are there, we can minimize those weaknesses. So organizational analysis normally is done with the strategic direction. The top management, what strategic direction the top management provides? Support of the managers, peers, and employees for the training activities are there. So therefore, the outcome is there, that is the manpower is to be developed through training. Then the whole support will be required by the managerial perspectives. Training procedures are there. There are different training procedures which you can use. Do we want to devote time and money to training? Buy versus build is there. Yes, and other HR opinions such as the selection is there. So therefore, here it becomes important person analysis and the task analysis. The person analysis is the input, output, consequences, and feedback. How he has or the person is working into this organization, and whether whatever the need we want to fulfill, he will be able to fulfill those needs or not. Task analysis or the competency model will be, that is about the which tasks are performed, how these tasks are performed, knowledge, skills, ability, and the personal capabilities. So ultimately, it will give the training of the development method, which is the evaluation, learning environment, and the transfer of training is required. So the tentative path of action will be initiate the change, business process reengineering, BPR, initiate the change, process diagnosis, process design, reconstruction, process monitoring, and the aviation new process is there. So always take the initiate change, that whatever the change you want to make into the organization, in your industry especially, nature of industry you are working, therefore you will be looking for the initiate change. So you can bring that particular change. Process diagnosis, whether it is the proper process of certified process or not, like the we talk about the ISO 9000, or when you talk about the process design is there, redesigning is there, which is done by the established institutes, reconstruction are there, and the projects monitoring are there. So the car manufacturing company has recently launched its products performance SWOT analysis for the same. This is an example of the SWOT, another example of the SWOT. However, I have discussed with you on the SWOT of this GetCo and the power corporation. So, but this is again an example, that is how you can go by this particular the SWOT analysis in the case if you forget the points what I have mentioned earlier is there. Now, here I would like to mention that is the always whenever we are talking about this type of these decision making process, we should look at the research. We should not ignore the research, our core competency. The core competency of our academicians is about the research. So I do not know how many of you are working on this transmission power sectors are the using the SWOT analysis as a method for the research. Any one of you? Are you using the SWOT analysis as a method of your research? Are you working on the transmission and the future?
No, sir.
Okay. No one is doing. Fine. But please use this, make the use of this SWOT analysis as a part of your research work. For example, the case writing workshops and the case writing learning, please attend. So that what happens, that is the how to make the SWOT analysis and then what methods are to be used. Now here you see the two papers, SWOT analysis of the Indian power systems and the SWOT framework for analyzing the electricity supply chain using an integrated AHP methodology combined with the fuzzy topsis is there. Now, this particular paper, which has been published with this abstract is given here, and therefore in that case you can find out that is the how this paper reviews the important roles being played by the Indian transmission system within India and also providing the interconnections to its neighboring countries are there. So two types of the improvements which have been essential in EHV transmission system that have been given briefly. One important contribution of the present paper is the SWOT analysis of Indian power system, which is normally not covered in technical literature on the power systems. The paper gives at the end some recommendations for the engineers to concentrate upon to improve the situation in Indian power sector. In a power system, it has to be ensured that the power generation matches with the power demand. And there are the two elements in between the generation and the loads are there. First one is the power transmission system, which transmits the power up to the high power receiving the substations located at a number of locations around the large city. The second element is the distribution system, which form a network within a city and the supply power to millions of the domestic, commercial, industrial, and the other consumers are there. The strength of the Indian power system is our national grid with the 356 gigawatt installed power capacity distributed all over India is the biggest strength is there. Within 800 megawatt is the largest generating set. Even if one unit develops some problems and is taken out, it is hardly 0.2% loss of power capacity in the grid is there. India has a large reserve of the indigenous coal which is required for the thermal power generation, and as per the rough estimates, the coal reserves can serve the demand of thermal power stations for the many decades. India has gone for a large-scale use of renewable energy generation based on both PV power and wind power, and therefore having sufficient energy source is a major strength for Indian power sectors. Many experienced and financially strong public sector undertaking as the backbones of the Indian power sector. NTPC Limited is able to install the large capacity thermal power stations with latest technologies. It has also erected many small capacity at the power stations and is venturing into a renewable energy generation. Thus, India has a large strength in the area of the power sector, manufacturing and erection of power situations and transmission lines. India has also the ability of the large skilled and semi-skilled manpower required for the production, erection, operations, and maintenance of equipment in the power sector. So you can club with your this the technology with the semi and some semi-skilled manpower for their productions and the maintenance are concerned. However, Indian power system is also having a certain weaknesses. One weakness commonly mentioned for India is a dependent on the imported gas for the gas-based power supply stations are there. As of now, because of the non-availability and the high cost of imported gas, gas-based power station of 14,000 megawatt have not been operating for the last many years. But now government India has decided not to encourage the installation of the large-scale base units is there. Basically, you will find that is the unbundling has been done in the power sector. You know unbundling? Anybody? Anybody is from the power sector? Use.
No, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Sanjay Kumar Sadhana has mentioned about the answer. Yes, SWOT analysis. He has used the SWOT analysis. And that is good. Now, the unbundling is, you must be knowing, earlier there was the electricity board were there, right? But now there are the different companies. These are called the discoms, distribution companies, like it is mentioned here. So these discoms are there, distribution companies have been there. But the most of these major weakness power sector is the poor financial position of the discoms, distribution companies. The energy rates are not being raised by the State Electricity Regulatory Commission. This due to the political pressures. Further, although the discoms are able to collect the revenue for the energy supplied to the cities or towns, the collections have been poor from the rural areas. Uh, the aggregate technical and commercial power losses are very high in most of the states are there. So therefore, due to the theft of the power, pilferage and non-collection of bills, so there in most of the rural areas, the power supply is free or the people do not make payments. Thus, the discom are running into losses. So the number of goods every day is given opportunity for tapping solar power generation in India, and also there are large areas where the sufficient potential for the development of the wind energy is there. So India has also a potential for the development of the large hydropower, northeastern region, and the problems of the land acquisition, resettlement of the people, and delays are not getting the environmental clearances there. The threats of the Indian power system has been mentioned by the authors in this research paper. Is the main problem in India is that there are no new developments and the country is dependent on important of the new technology and new products. For example, for RES, the Indian suppliers have to import the PV cells for building the PV panels. For stationary battery storage, the manufacturers are dependent on the import of the lithium ion cells. Further, the FETs devices, the large power semiconductor devices, have to be imported. Thus, the dependence of the India and supporters from the India countries, latest technologies and products is a great threat for the Indian power sector is there. This is a threat and I have talked about. Now, these are the threats and powers are there. So, these were the all were the examples of the transmission of the power sectors where we can do. Similarly, just I would like to mention those who are not working in the power sector, they can also see the SWOT analysis for the McDonald's are there, and in this way, the do's and do nots that you can create and find out, that is the how to analysis, do the SWOT analysis, and then the how we can go for the introduction with the another research paper has talked about Indian power system with the neighboring countries, connection with Bhutan, Bangladesh, and so finally, before I conclude, I would like to make the conclusion of this research paper as a recommendation. A large percent of energy is consumed by the industries, and recovery of energy bills from them has not been any problem. Therefore, these distribution companies, discom, this has become a very key word, right? Must be provided with the proper support so that the industries are able to have 24/7 availability of the quality power. And that's why one international project was run that is called the US aid. US was giving the aid to the such projects where helping the discoms to be sustainable and the profitable. I have been the coordinator for the particular project for the Rajasthan Rajya Vidyut Prasaran Nigam Limited, RRVPNL. If this is ensured, the industries would not try to go for the captive power, efficient and costly diesel-based generation. This would be a win-win situation for both. Industry is not required to use costly captive power and improve revenue for the discoms there. There are a number of old and inefficient coal-based power plants of the low capacities inside the cities, and this must be scrapped. Some alternative use of the buildings can be thought of, but large open space might be clear if the atoms and used for the generation of the solar power is there. There have not been many successful stories in India making the distribution areas smart grids are concerned. One major investment would be the installation of the prepaid smart meters in all the premises of the domestic, commercial, and industrial consumers are there. And making smart grids would also involve the changing the overhead distribution to high power voltage underground cables in order to prevent the theft is there. Now, this is the underground cable projects that is also going on. Then the wireless power, that is also the research is going on. All these issues using the commonly available power electronics based controller reducing the licenses there. I think I will leave this second paper with sir, and that you can refer later on. Analyzing the electricity supply chain using an integrated edge methodology combined with the fuzzy toxins. This is the paper also you can do, and this is the book recommendation for this SWOT analysis supercharged, which you can refer for your further studies. That is the how to make make the SWOT analysis. The best use of this SWOT analysis you can do, so that here by reading this book you will be able to also go into the details. That is what is there. This is the another book which I would like to recommend, using your strengths to overcome weaknesses, using opportunities to overcome threats are there. That is the by the Lawrence G. Fine is there. Publisher is Igrod Books is there. This book is the basic core book was there, which has been given the detailing about what is the SWOT analysis is there. This particular this presentation has been based on the annual report of the NHPC, and these Mahasagar publications is there. Power Grid Corporation SWOT analysis was taken from there, and this Simcon blog WordPress, this the Tata Power Company analysis was taken from there, and this is the some part has been taken from the business plan report by the GateCo. And these are certain sources for the places, and these are references. I'm sure that is by using these references, you will be able to know more about the SWOT analysis, and especially in case of the what are the dimensions and factors where the transmission organizations can focus for making the SWOT analysis. So I think that is enough for today. If anybody is having any question, please feel free to ask.
Any questions or any suggestion or anything you want to add? Any participant, please?
I will suggest the publications also by doing the SWOT analysis, because nowadays these are case study publications. They are well appreciated into the ABDC database also. So if you make this a practical study of surrounding of your any particular organization, maybe the startup also, it will be very much helpful. That is the you go for the thank you Sanjay ji. That is the startups you develop the case studies, and like in case of the Punjab, you can more work on these power sectors analysis methods and can suggest the policy method to the government.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for taking a very comprehensive session in which you have discussed the basic concept of the SWOT analysis, gave a lot of case studies of power transmission companies and McDonald's also. You discussed certain research papers, their recommendations, you gave the name of the books for the SWOT. It was a very, very comprehensive session. Thank you so much, sir, for your session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.